heading down to Hocking Hills this morning, early morning trip, and my primary goal is to actually scout out a workshop idea. I'm planning on switching up my fall workshop idea for Hocking Hills region. I can't really rely on the water and the waterfalls in the fall, which I learned last year semi the hard way. So I sort of have a different trip in mind for that area. So heading down this morning to sort of scout it. I know these trails, but it's been a while since I've hiked the whole sort of loop all at once. So I sort of just want to hike that, and I sort of want to scout it out, drop some GPS pins for some interesting spots along the way, just so I can sort of see how this trip would go together. I'm bringing with me today my Panasonic Lumix G9 camera, and this is one of those scenarios where I think it's perfect. I didn't want to bring all my camera gear, but I still want to have something nice, capable of taking great pictures while I'm down there. But I wanted to travel light and just focus on some of the hiking, have the camera with me, get some shots as I go, and go with that. So that's where this Lumix G9 is going to be perfect. I'm still carrying my big normal backpack just because I do have a little bit of video gear with me, but it's way lighter than if I brought my normal full frame set. So looking forward to it. Should be a fun little hike. Got some rain coming in this afternoon, so we're going to get down there, get this hike done. It's about a 6-mile hike round trip, maybe just a little plus, and we'll play and see how it goes. So we made it here, easy drive down. Just gonna grab the pack, drink a little bit of water before I hit the trail, and we'll catch up with you on the trail. Okay, so we made it to Hocking Hills, and I'm getting set to set off on this trek. It should be around a 6+ mile hike. Again, really primarily scouting things out for potential fall workshop. Gonna move somewhat quickly, but I brought the Lumix G9, maybe see if we can get a couple shots as we go. There is rain expected a little later, so wanting to get off the trail before the rain hits. But yeah, we'll check in later on the trail. And that right there is why I'm really sort of scouting out something different for the fall Hocking Hills workshop. A lot of my workshops are waterfall dependent. I like to photograph waterfalls, I like to take people out, photograph waterfalls. But last fall, the water, which is typical to Ohio, it's coming after the summer dry season. The waterfalls aren't always the greatest. We've had a very dry summer so far, as you can see by that waterfall. So this is why I'm sort of scouting out something different, so that we can make the fall colors a little more the emphasis of the workshop. So let's get on the trail. So, like I said, today's hike is predominantly just sort of scout out some areas, drop some GPS points on what might be some interesting photographic opportunities on a workshop along this little hike. But just got some interesting light coming through the trees here. Got the trees, the hemlock, just sort of straight branch, a little bit of sun. I'm going to grab this shot real quick. Again, this is where the Lumix is super handy. Hold on, let me get this out. But this is where the Lumix is super handy. I've got it all here in this one self-contained camera. I only brought the G9 and my 12-60 lens, which has a field of view equivalent of a 24-120, so super versatile for both a little bit of wideish on the wideish side of things and a little bit of telephoto. So super lightweight. Like I said, I wasn't sure what I was going to find as far as compositions today, so I didn't want to carry my full camera kit through the woods. So this is where, in my opinion, the Micro Four Thirds system really excels at. Nice lightweight, one package. I could have brought some extra lenses, still wouldn't have taken up a lot of room, but I'm just going one lens today. Do have a circular polarizer on here. Like I said, I shoot with one a lot. I knew I'd be in a lot of green, and there will be a little bit of waterfalls, probably not running strong like we saw at that first one. So we'll just play a little bit and move on down the trail. So
that's good for here. I just wanted to get a couple quick shots. How the sun shines through was sort of neat through the trees. So we're gonna head on down the trail that way and trying to make it to Rose Lake. That's where I actually think the first stop for the workshop would be, because in the fall colors and the lake should be pretty cool. So I think if you get an early morning start, head to the lake, and that'll be like a pretty significant stop on the workshop. That's the theory anyways, but that's sort of what we're out here testing, just to sort of see is what I think and what I've seen from the maps and pictures online something to actually pan out. So this is why I wanted to do this hike. To me, this is probably one of the premier spots of potentially my fall workshop. This is Rose Lake in Hocking Hills, and in the fall, this should be full of awesome colors all along the shoreline here. And the things I was excited to try out, one, it's been super dry this summer so far, like I mentioned before, and the waterfalls are barely running at all, but this lake has plenty of water. If anything, it might be more interesting because the rocks are a little more exposed here at the edge, some nice foreground elements, and a little bit of use a polarizing filter and see some of the rocks underneath. So super cool there. Two, nice to see what it looks like when it's still. Granted, there's not a lot of wind today. Can't guarantee that in the fall, but super smooth. You get some great reflections. Get here in the early morning when the light is awesome. I'll have to plan out and see where the sun rises. It's over east is that direction right now. I mean, it'll always be east that direction, I guess, but, you know, the sun changes where it rises a little bit. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? Anyways, you know what I mean. The sun rises a little differently in different times of the year, so east is that direction, so the sun will come up that way. Lots of little composition opportunities. There's some spots to set up over this way, spots over on that shore. I think this would be really cool with a wide angle. You could pick out pops of color with a telephoto. So lots of options here. So I am going to break out the Lumix G9. The light's not great. Another reason why I like to go when I'm doing these exploration trips, I'm not going to hit every spot a perfect light. So I don't want to necessarily lug along my big cameras and my big lenses. So I'm going to just pull out the G9 mainly so I can record a couple composition ideas, so I'm at home, I can think about them and think about how I would want to guide someone here on a photography workshop. Just to, like I said, that's the purpose of the scouting mission. Capture some pictures, mainly for documentary, mainly to document this spot so I can refer to them back home. And we'll hit the trail, and this will wind us through towards Cedar Falls from the top. Cedar Falls is one of my frequent stops on my workshops. It is the highest flow waterfall in Hocking Hills, so it will typically have water, but I'm not expecting much today. I'm sure there'll be some water running over it, but yeah. Let's get the Lumix out. So I'm shooting tripodless with this camera. Actually, most any camera could do it today. Like I said, it's bright. This is not the ideal time you would shoot this scene and not super interesting clouds. But that's one of the reasons this G9 was cool to bring with me today, because I didn't actually bring a tripod for it. Because even if there's some waterfalls with the image stabilization in it, I'm counting on it to be able to get some sort of long shutter, slow exposure stuff if I need to. Again, just keeps the load super light, lets me make the most of my energy as I sort of scout out this workshop spot. I am shooting these at aperture 6.3 and shutter speed at 250, ISO 200. Again, handheld with that shutter speed. There's not a lot of wind here. Everything should be pretty cool with those camera settings. These aren't portfolio shots. Everything's super green. The light is already into the mid-morning light, so nothing super cool happening there. These are more for documenting this area so that I have a better idea of what it looked like when I look back on it if I prep for a workshop here. So, with that said, I think I'm pretty happy with this area. It's definitely the strong point I thought it was. And then we'll pack up, and then we're gonna head down the trail that way. And this'll, I think I'm another mile until Cedar Falls. Again, photograph that a lot in my workshops and just my general trips to Hocking Hills. So it'll be interesting to see how it's running today. And then from there, we'll work our way through the gorge and back through to where we came from. Should be 6+ miles round trip. So it took me quite a while to get there, explore the whole bit. So I'm probably gonna need to speed a little bit of this next section up just a little bit, or I'm not gonna make it back before the rain starts. So yeah, we're gonna move sort of quickly towards Cedar Falls. If I see something interesting, we'll stop and take a look. But otherwise, I'm just sort of scouting, moving quickly to Cedar Falls, and then we gotta cut back through the gorge to get back to where we were. And I got 4 miles to go, and taking longer than I thought just because I keep looking around, stopping, and taking a look at things. So we're gonna move through this next little section a little more quickly, and we'll go from there. So I guess we'll see if I missed the rain or not. It's getting a little darker. I never get any service down here, so I can't really check the weather to see if the front's moving through a little quicker than it was supposed to be. Not a big deal. I got a rain poncho with me and rain cover for the pack, but we'll see. I got about, well, we haven't reached Cedar Falls yet. It's around the corner and just down the hill. Pause there. I'll probably grab a quick snack, and I think it's another 3-ish miles out. Harder trail than what this just was, but should be fun. We'll see if I make it out before the raindrops hit. Okay, I made it down to Cedar Falls. Yeah, that's how dry it is. That is super low flow Cedar Falls. Still running, which is probably more than some of the other falls. We'll see the lower falls on the way out. I suspect it's a trickle as well. I did take a few pictures with the G9, just sort of playing with hand holding, longer exposure, just, you know, playing with it a bit. I've got way better pictures of Cedar Falls than this. Good morning out though. Like the clouds are building, like I mentioned a little earlier. We'll see if I get some sprinkles on the way out of here. I got rain gear with me just in case, but I did pack a little lighter than normal. Let's see, I might move up just a little closer down into that area, get a little picture with the G9, and I'll probably grab a quick snack and then refill my water bottle and head back down the trail and head back towards the car. Now, actually, through the gorge is one of the areas I want to scout for my workshop. I've been through that trail several times, many times. I'm just pay a little attention to where we could stop as a workshop to sort of take some pictures. I got a couple spots in mind, but I'd like to drop a waypoint on them just so that if I'm out and talking busy, I have an easy way to refer to them. So yeah, great morning out regardless. Just work my way over there, take another shot with G9, and go from there. So again, super low flow of this falls, and unfortunately this is what like fall around here is, unless you get really lucky and just had some rains move through. But then you run into the chance of the rains and the winds knocking the leaves off, so it's really sort of tough to balance the fall workshop. Like the last year's fall workshop, this is probably about how Cedar Falls was running, so I think we're going to focus more on fall colors and opportunities to photograph those with this fall workshop. But like I said, Panasonic G9 to photograph this, and I did it handheld because I didn't bring a tripod for the G9. And my settings, I ran with an aperture f5, 1/8 of a second shutter speed, and ISO 200. I mean, looking at the back of the camera, I mean, it seems as good as it can be for low flow falls. So we are going to transfer my water bottles around, have a snack, then we're going to take off down the trail. Oh, Lower Falls, we'll stop and take a peek at Lower Falls. These clouds and stuff may keep the crowds away. It is Sunday morning, and usually early morning keeps people away. And then also, a lot of times this is the day people are heading home, so it can cut down on the crowds a bit. And with the forecasted rain, people may just be like, oh, we're calling it, we're going home. We'll go from there. So, food. Okay, just left Cedar Falls, started to get a little crowded. We are on the busy section of trail. It's where the main parking lot is and people come down. Oh, in about a quarter mile, I'll be back in the peace and quiet where far fewer people go. So we're just gonna sort of beeline through that way. Yeah, we'll head this way. So the rain has started a little bit. It rained a little bit, but we're underneath these thick, heavy trees. It's really not a problem yet, just a little bit of sprinkles down here. But definitely getting a little bit of rain. Made it through most of the stuff I wanted to get to. We'll swing by Lower Falls, see how the rain is there, and maybe get a shot or two. Like I said, it's probably going to be a trickle because Cedar Falls runs the strongest here, which means Lower Falls is going to be near non-existent. But we'll probably stop there, grab some water, check that out, and make the hike out from here. I don't know, I'm probably 2 miles left, 2 1/4, something like that. So still a little ways to go. Okay, so we made it down to Lower Falls. It is starting to rain more. I'm probably not going to break out the G9 just now. The flow is super slow, super low, busy, crowded. So I think I'm going to stash this camera because its weatherproofness is questionable. And we'll make the hike out of here. This is the spot, if you've watched any of my videos, you know there's like 1,000 stairs on the way out. Always wears me down. I use the iPhone to film anything that needs to be filmed, and see you at the top. Up those stairs. I think I'm getting better at it. I'm a little out of breath. So we're gonna hike out. We're almost to the visitor center, and catch my breath. We'll wrap this thing up. Definitely raining now. Under the cover of the trees, it's not bad, but we're gonna stop off here, and I think I'm gonna be smart and break the poncho out. No point getting soaked. So okay, got the poncho on. Once we're out in the parking lot, there won't be the trees to block the rain. So we'll head out that way, and we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, so we made it back to the Forerunner. It is raining now. Of course, it's just like I thought it would be once we got out from underneath the trees. It was definitely raining a little harder than you could tell back in the woods. Anyways, great trip. Let's see. Actually, it reminds me, I need to stop my Gaia GPS. Let's stop that real quick. Looks like we covered 6.75 miles on that loop. And like I said, the whole purpose was sort of scout it out for a potential fall workshop. I'm trying to think. The Rose Lake is awesome, super amazing, and really good. If Cedar Falls is running, that makes a really great additional stop. However, it can get a little crowded. It wasn't terrible today, but it could be crowded on a workshop, so that's something to consider. The trail from Cedar Falls, when you're down in the gorge, there are a couple interesting spots to do, and if the trees are changing colors, then there's always, all it takes is a tree or two to start making some compositions around it. So I'm going to think about whether this is a good fall workshop, sleep on it, see what I think. The day out was great, had fun, good hike, did shoot the G9 a little bit, mainly for documentary purposes than anything, but it fit the need of what I wanted, which was a small, lightweight, very portable camera to carry with me on these little explorations. Today was more about the exploration, the thinking about how a workshop would run on it, more so than the photography itself. So the G9 made a great travel companion for that, kept the pack light. I always complain about those stairs up out of Lower Falls, and they were pretty easy. It kept up with some much younger people than me on the way up, and I was still carrying a camera bag on the way out, so pretty cool about that. So I think that wraps up today's video. A little different, you know, it's not completely focused on a piece of camera gear or particular educational concept. It was really just sort of following me around as I scouted something out. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd like to do more videos like this, but what makes them interesting to you guys? It is always a skill I'm working on, that vlogging skill, trying to make it interesting when it's more following me around than necessarily a specific purpose, like an education purpose or a gear purpose or something like that. So let me know in the comments below what you think. You know, I'm open to critique and on that front. So otherwise, if you like today's video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you see future landscape photography content from me, including tips, tricks, behind the scenes, mini gear reviews, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching.